Welcome back. We are coming to you live from the World Economic Forum here in Davos, Switzerland. The global economy, a main focus here, of course. We're also watching the UK's exit from the European Union. Where does that stand? The British Parliament is now getting closer to a plan that could delay the exit. Joining me right now is former British Prime Minister Tony Blair. Mr. Prime Minister, it's good to see you again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. So what we know so far, how do you think this plays out?
I think it's really difficult to tell. I think the options are we fall out without any deal at all, which I think is very unlikely. Alternatively, we go back and agree the Prime Minister's plan. I think that's unlikely too. Or we go to a fresh referendum, which at the moment does not have a majority, but maybe where we end up.
If Theresa May, needs to have a plan in terms of trade and not have a hard exit, how can she do that when all of these countries are represented by the EU?
Because the real difficulty that she has is the problem with the deal that she's presenting to the British Parliament is that it doesn't resolve the central question of Britain's future trading relationship with the EU.
Right.
And basically we've got a choice. We can stay close to Europe to minimise the economic damage of falling out of a trading system we've been in for over 4 decades. But if we do that and we are obliged to stay bound by Europe's rules, then it's a kind of pointless Brexit. You know, why have you done it? Because the whole purpose of Brexit, if you support it, is to get rid of these rules. On the other hand, if we decide, right, we're going to break free of this trading system and we're going to set our own rules, then you've got a painful period of economic adjustment. So this is the pointless versus painful dilemma the government's in. And the plan that the Prime Minister presented to Parliament really doesn't resolve that question. And that's the central problem with it. So I think one possibility, by the way, is the Parliament then decides it wants one or other of those two things, a close relationship or a distant relationship. But right now, I don't think there's a majority for anything in Parliament. And so that's why I think when you take into account 30 months of negotiation, all of this mess, Parliament can't agree, the Prime Minister's obviously in huge difficulty. Frankly, the Cabinet don't agree. You know, in those circumstances, I think the logical thing is you've got to say to the people who made the original decision, the referendum, OK, given all this, do you want to carry on or do you want to remain in the EU? Why
hasn't she been able to articulate more clarity? I mean, this uncertainty, you've got Dyson announcing it's relocating out of the UK to Singapore. Companies like Sony, Panasonic saying they're moving out of the UK. You know, businesses cannot operate if they don't have certainty. Why has she been so iffy about all of this?
Because I think the problem is that her party is fundamentally in disagreement. And that's the difficulty, because one part of her party essentially really wants to stay in the European Union, and the other part really want to break free. And some people say, well, maybe we do a compromise where, as I say, we stay close to Europe's rules, but then the bit of the Conservative Party that's in favour of Brexit doesn't want that either. So the essential problem the Prime Minister's got is that there's a fundamental division in her party, and indeed in the country, to be fair, and it's very hard to resolve it.
Where are the most important trade situations that she needs to lock up? Putting the EU aside, I mean, are there other trade negotiations that she should be thinking about in terms of ensuring that she has a plan with them?
Yes, I mean, you can certainly explore other trading options. But the problem is that virtually 60% of our trade is governed by the EU trading system. And by the way, we haven't mentioned this, but there's a whole dimension of problem, which is around the border in Ireland between Northern Ireland, that's part of the UK, right, and the Republic of Ireland, that's obviously an independent country within the EU. Now, the UK and the Republic of Ireland have always been either out of Europe together, and then they joined on the same day together in May, I think it was May 1973. So this is also a problem, because you've got to resolve that somehow, because you don't want a closed border along the border between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. Otherwise, you're going to cause real problems on the island of Ireland and to the peace process that we spent such a long time negotiating. So, look, the truthful answer is there is no easy answer to any of this. And, you know, in the end, we are in a big mess. I mean, I think I want to emphasize to an American audience in particular, whatever happens, we will come out of this at a certain point. It's going to be very messy, whatever we do. But, you know, Britain will remain a strong,
yes,
capable country with a strong economy and will remain a good partner.
Yeah, very quickly on China. Are you worried about some of the issues around China, from espionage to the theft of IP to the forced transfer of technology and the trade issues?
Yeah. And
what should be done about it?
Well, I think, look, this is why I say to people, even though obviously you don't want to trigger a trade war and you know, end up causing a real breakdown in the global trading system, the American administration is not wrong to put these issues on the agenda. They have to be put on the agenda. And I think, I mean, my advice to Europe, frankly, would be also to put this on the agenda because it's a real issue.
Ally with the U.S.
Yeah, because in the end, look, we all know that power of China is going to be huge. Its economy is very strong. It's interrelated with ours. They're going to be politically more powerful. But we need to make sure it's done on a fair basis. Now, I hope that we will get a resolution of this so that we can dial back down the
rhetoric, right?
Yeah, the rhetoric and the activity, but the issue has to be dealt with.
Mr. Prime Minister, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Good to see you, Prime Minister Tony Blair.